So for today's lesson, what we're going to do is talk about circumference and arc length. So we've already talked about how arc measures the degree of an arc, but the arc length measures the actual units of the arc. So the circumference of a circle is always the distance around the circle. The formula to find the circumference is going to be either c equals 2 pi r or c equals pi diameter. Just want to make sure that I'm recording here. Okay, still going. All right, so the arc length is a portion of the circumference. Of the circle. You can use the measure of the arc in degrees to find the measure of the length of the arc in linear units. So arc length, which we abbreviate as AL, is going to be the degree of the arc out of the full circle, which is 360 degrees, multiplied by the circumference. So what happens here is we want to find the length of arc AB. Well, we know that the length of the arc that we're trying to find has a degree measure of 60 degrees. So the degree measure of arc AB is 60. So arc length equals degree 60 divided by 360 times, well, if the radius equals 8, then the circumference equals 16 pi. We're going to find this answer in two ways. We're going to find it as an exact answer, which means pi is in your answer, and then you're going to find it as an approximate answer where you multiply through by pi. So we're going to have two different answers here. This first one's going to be the exact answer. If you go onto your calculator, and what you would have to do is do 60 divided by 360, get that answer, multiply that by 16, we're not using pi yet, and turn this into a fraction. We don't want any decimals in our answers. So as an exact answer, it's 8/3 pi. So arc length is 8/3 pi, and then this is going to be measured in centimeters. That's the exact answer. If we actually do the approximate answer, that's when you multiply through by the pi button. Then what you're going to do, if you're going to take 8/3, I'm just going to multiply that value by pi. This I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth, 8.34. I'm sorry, 8.38. So then this answer becomes, or arc length equals 8.38 centimeters. You should be able to have two different answers, exact answers in terms of pi, and approximate answers which you multiply through by the pi button and you get decimals. We want to find the length of arc QP. Well, arc QP has a degree measure of 75. So arc length is the degree measure out of 360 times the circumference. Well, the diameter of this circle is 9, so the circumference is 9 pi. Remember, we want two answers, one in terms of pi, and then one that's an approximate answer. So let's find the one in terms of pi first. If we do 75 divided by 360, get that, multiply that by 9, turn that into a fraction, math, enter, enter, we get 15/8 pi. So the exact answer is 15/8 pi. If we multiply the pi through, then we're going to take 15/8 times pi. Oopsie, what happened here? 15/8 times pi, and this comes out to be 5.89 to the nearest hundredth. It's 5.89. So this becomes 5.89. Again, you should be able to get two answers, one in terms of pi and one that's multiplied out. Let's try this next one. Find the circumference of the circle. Well, the circumference is a part of your formula where arc length, and we actually know the arc length. If it's measured in inches, that is the arc length. So 4.19 is, we know the degree measure is 40 divided by 360 times the circumference. Well, we need to get the c all alone. So you need to think about algebraically what you want to do. One of the things that you can do is you can change the 40 out of 360 into a fraction, which is 1/9. So if you multiply both sides by 9, or 9/1, what's going to end up happening here is you're left with just circumference equals whatever 4.19 times 9 is. That's your answer. 4.19 times 9, and then you end up here getting 37.71. So this becomes 37.71 inches, and that's the circumference of the circle. Got one more to go. Find the degree measure of the arc. So again, we're given the arc length. So the arc length is 44. We don't know the degree, we'll call that x, divided by 360. Well, this happens to be your radius, which means pi, sorry, your diameter. Your diameter is double that, so your circumference, sorry, ends up becoming 30.56 pi. You're just doubling the radius. Well, now you have to get x by itself. So one thing that you might want to consider doing is multiplying both sides by 360. If you multiply both sides by 360, the 360 denominator goes away on the left-hand side. 44 times 360 is 1,508.40. So 1,508.40 equals 30.56 pi times x, because that's all that's left on the right-hand side. Well, to find x, which happens to be the degree measure, you need to divide out the 30.56 pi. I'm going to divide both sides by 30.56 pi. What happens here is anything divided by itself goes away, and now we're just going to be getting x. Now when you do this division, you need to be very careful that you put that 30.56 pi in parentheses. So what happens is 1,504.80 divided by parentheses 30.56 pi, close it up. We're going to round this to the nearest whole degree, and the answer is something I did wrong here. 1,800, let's try that again. It's 15,840, sorry, divided by 30.56 pi. Come on. Pi. Oh boy, clear this, try this again. 1,508.40 divided by parenthesis 30.56 pi, there we go. And this to the nearest whole number would be 165 degrees. So the measure of the arc is 165 degrees. Okay, so there you go. You should be fine with the homework.